Some men die in war, some in their sleep. But here, in the heart of Oklahoma, a man dies by appointment. 10 a.m. A guard walks toward cell H-19, one of 200 cages built for death. Inside, Kevin Ray Underwood sits, waiting. He has 24 hours left, not to prove his innocence, but to die. 18 years ago, in the quiet town of Purcell, Oklahoma, a little girl went missing. Jamie Rose Bolin, 10 years old, last seen riding her bike to the library. At first, I just wanted to eat someone. Then it turned into more. He lured her in, strangled her, and dismembered her. His plan? To eat her flesh over several days. When police entered his apartment, they found her body in a plastic tub. Next to it, a meat tenderizer, duct tape, and a typed-out fantasy in chilling detail. In 2008, Kevin was sentenced to death. He never denied what he did, but his lawyers argued he was severely mentally ill. Now, 16 years later, the state of Oklahoma is ready to finish what it started. Not every state uses the death penalty, but those that do, don't leave it to chance. The execution is scheduled. The drugs are prepared. The witnesses invited. The room is quiet. The table is empty. But by sunrise tomorrow, Kevin Ray Underwood will lie there, as his heart is stopped by the hand of law. This is what happens in the last 24 hours of a man sentenced to die. Time is the ultimate judge, and for one man, it has run out. It's 10 a.m. in McAlester, Oklahoma. Behind a locked steel door, in H Unit, a death row inmate sits on the edge of his bed. His name, Kevin Ray Underwood. In 24 hours, he will be dead. Not every state in the U.S. allows or uses the death penalty. The ones that do have different execution protocols. But generally speaking, the timeline of events is similar, with slight differences in the details. These protocols can take months of preparation, so that the day of execution is not just scheduled, it's perfectly executed. This is what happens in the last 24 hours on death row. Not all prisons are built to kill, but this one was by design. They call it the death house. No jury, no lawyer, no argument. Once you're here, you're not here to plead. You're here to end. The room is disturbingly simple. A single bed, a toilet, a desk. But unlike any prison cell, it's spotless. No clutter, no marks, no life. Everything is prepped, sterile, not because it's sacred, but because it must be controlled. This is where justice becomes choreography, where death is not rage, but routine. Around noon, a metal tray slides through the door. Inside it, a lukewarm meal, a plastic cup, a folded napkin. Nothing special, but in here, even the ordinary feels final. This is the first meal of the last day. A tray of food, a drink, a bite of silence. They say death row is the loneliest place on earth. But in these final hours, even loneliness is structured. Today, he will eat alone, but he will not be alone all day. Visitation hours begin. No handshakes, no hugs, only eyes, and a sheet of glass. Kevin won't see his family face to face. No hugs, no hands, just words through glass. On one side, Kevin. On the other, a mother, a chaplain, maybe a lawyer. 9 p.m. The last meal has arrived. Not gourmet, not grand, just chosen. A burger, fries, maybe a piece of pie. The budget, $25. The meaning? Priceless. He eats slowly, not because he's savoring it, but because he knows it's the last thing he'll ever choose. Some inmates devour their final meal. Some can't eat at all. Kevin, he finishes half. There's no wine, no music, only the buzzing light above his head. Night falls on H Unit, but no one sleeps here. Some pray, some cry, some scream. Kevin just writes. He writes to no one in particular, not to be remembered, not to be forgiven, but because it's the last thing he can do. The chaplain stays beside him, not to preach, not to save, but to listen, if Kevin chooses to speak. But Kevin says nothing, and in that silence, a different kind of confession takes shape. There's no bed made for sleep, only for waiting. And as the night grows deeper, the walls of this room begin to feel like time itself. Heavy, still, irreversible. 4:30 a.m. He is awake before the guards arrive. At 4:30 a.m., the ritual begins. Not for soul, not for peace, but for procedure. The ritual begins. A shower, a shave, a fresh uniform, folded neatly beside a single diaper. He showers under fluorescent light. He's given clean clothes, a diaper. They say it's for dignity, but death does not wait for decency. It only requires order. This isn't cruelty, it's policy. Death brings with it the collapse of the body. The body must be clean, sterile, compliant. And the system demands dignity, even in decomposition. The uniform is clean. It will never be washed again. Kevin buttons it up slowly. Each button, a countdown. 2 hours to go. But the execution has already begun, in the minds of those who came to watch it. This room has no gurney, no drugs, no prisoner, only eyes, waiting to see a man die. Families of victims, families of killers, reporters, chaplains, guards, all gathered here to witness the final breath of someone they once feared, loved, or judged. The room is silent because no one is allowed to speak, but inside each head, the noise is deafening. What does justice sound like when everyone is forced to be quiet? And this is the walk no man trains for. The final 50 steps between a prison cell and the execution chamber. It's not long, but it feels like forever. 2 guards, 1 inmate. No words. Every footstep echoes louder than the last. Not just in this hallway, but in the minds of everyone who ever said colon. He deserves this. There's no turning back. No side exits. No appeal left to file. He is no longer called Kevin here. Not a man. Not even a prisoner. Just the subject. The table is not a bed. It is a tool, built not to comfort, but to hold. 2 IV lines. 1 for action, 1 for failure. Even in death, they plan for a backup. The nurse swabs alcohol on his skin. Sterile, cold, like dignity reduced to protocol. The ECG monitor beeps steadily, a machine confirming he's still alive, so they can legally make him not. It sits there, bolted to the wall. No dial tone, no keypad. Just one purpose: to ring or not. A direct line from the governor's office. If it rings, he lives. If not, the clock runs out. No one speaks of the phone, but everyone watches it. Sometimes it rings. Most times, it doesn't. 5 minutes left. Enough time to forgive. Enough time to blame. Enough time to say nothing. The warden leans in. Do you have any last words? Some quote scripture. Some cry, some curse. Kevin pauses, and then he says something. I know what I did. I don't ask for your forgiveness. Only that it never happens again. No one claps. No one sighs. But something shifts in the room. It doesn't look like death. It looks like surgery. The table is sterile. The equipment double-checked. The dosage precise. The executioner does not stand beside him. He sits behind glass and pushes a button. First, the sedative, to knock the brain unconscious. Then, the paralytic, to freeze the muscles, even the ones that let you breathe. Finally, the toxin, potassium chloride. It forces the heart to spasm, then stop. It's done. No more movement. No more sound. No more choices. Kevin Ray Underwood is dead, but the room still remembers. The bed will be wiped, the needle thrown away. Another inmate will sleep in his old cell tonight. Justice, some say. But is it? In the United States, over 2,000 prisoners are still on death row. This story was about one. We often ask, do they deserve to die? But rarely do we ask, do we deserve to kill?